Terry Rigby of Edmonton, you could win groceries for a year if a kickoff's returned for a touchdown in this game, thanks to Safeway Sobeys' $1 Million Touchdown to Win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned for a touchdown in this game, you can also win $1 million, Terry Rigby. Let's go to BMO Field in Toronto and join Rod Black and Dwayne Ford, guys.
Thank you, Rod. A spectacular summer Saturday in the 6. And right now, the Argos and the Eskimos preparing to tangle near the lakeshore at BMO Field. It is the Jedi Master and a young Skywalker.
Yes, the former Eskimo, James Franklin, once an Argo killer, 2 starts against the Toronto Argonauts. He posted big numbers, completing over 75% of his passes, 5 touchdowns versus no interceptions. He hopes it works the other way around for him today now that he's in double blue. And of course, his former mentor, Mike Riley, the CFL's reigning most outstanding player. Eskimos have largely lived and died by the long ball this year.
Jason Moss needs his defense to pick it up right now. Team that is 2-1 to start the season. Loss in between the 2 wins, and no Toronto Argonaut team has started 0-2 since 2002. Mark Trestman's defending Grey Cup champions looking to get off the schneid today. Brandon Burks gets into the lineup, makes his CFL debut. He'll be back to return along with Martese Jackson. Hugh O'Neill has the ball on the tee. Looks like he'll kick it into the wind. On a glorious day in Toronto. A little Saturday late afternoon football for you. And here's Burks. And he will be dragged down near the 32-yard line. So James Franklin, who once shredded the Argos as an Eskimo, looking to reverse that today.
Yeah, certainly is. In fact, James Franklin's last start in the Canadian Football League came in the season finale in 2016. 4 touchdown passes versus no interceptions in a defeat of the Toronto Argonauts.
26-year-old will be 27 in a couple of weeks out of Oklahoma City. Former Tiger from Mizzou and a longtime Eskimo. Is this his time to arrive? Out of the backfield in the sunshine, James Wilder, and the first pass complete to last year's CFL Rookie of the Year. Ball came out. The Eskimos thought they recovered, but it's whistled down.
And the Argos looking to set some tone right off the bat with the screen pass, try and slow down that rush. Some changes for them. Adding an extra Canadian in that receiving core. 3rd-year man Levi Noel gets the start. Of course, the offensive line anchored by 2017 All-Star tackle Chris Van Zyl.
Would you not think that for the Argos to start to get some traction in the early season, the key is not only James Franklin, but James Wilder?
Yeah, I think you're going to see them use Wilder, among other things, as we saw the screen pass on the first play of this ball game, just to try and manage that Eskimos pass rush a little bit, keep them honest, and ensure that the young quarterback is allowed some time to settle in early.
Gives it back to Wilder. Wilder. Looks like he rumbles close to a first down. Had 5 carries in his first game of the season, 10 in his second. Here's how the Eskimos line up defensively.
Yeah, Kwaku Boateng is out of the lineup for this one. Gerald Rivers will get the start at defensive end. In his place, the leader of this defense, heart and soul as always, number 47, middle linebacker J.C. Sherritt. Little shuffle in the secondary as Maurice McKnight makes the start at the field corner.
Well, James Wilder so far, and he probably was salivating at the notion that James Franklin was going to get a start here today, and just to get a chance to get a little more football. They've also had 2 weeks off, the Argos, and of course it was 2 weeks ago when that devastating injury happened to Ricky Ray. That's why we have the narrative we have today.
Yeah, and James Franklin obviously was acquired with the notion in mind of him being the heir apparent to Ricky Ray. Most anticipated that wouldn't happen for a year, but
Franklin's strong arm, and Levi Noel comes down with the football. First catch of the season for the Canadian receiver. Plays in his hometown, but predominantly a special teams player the last couple years.
Yeah, he's made his mark as a special teams cover guy, but when given the opportunity as a receiver, we've seen him with an ability to do this, use his size to go up and get the football. That'll certainly earn the confidence of his quarterback and coaching staff going forward.
Just dropped it in perfectly, did James Franklin, who's perfect so far. And there's Wilder. Slashes up the middle, close to another first down as they are inside that red zone or green zone inside the 20-yard line.
I love the work of Levi Noel here, following up the big catch with a big block. Sealing things off, he's on the front side of that run for James Wilder. Again, showing he's going to be more than just a receiver, but that he's willing to do the dirty work to stay in the lineup.
So the Argos will move the sticks. And there is a late penalty flag here. There was some jawing after the whistle. Andre Proulx is our referee.
Objectionable conduct. Edmonton number 26. After distance, the goal, and a first down.
Chris Edwards. I suppose it's probably good we don't have a live mic on Chris Edwards today. Eskimo team that has piled up a lot of penalty yardage and penalties. Even better for the Argos now. First and goal outside the 5 in the shadows to the sunshine looking end zone. And Wilder plows up and down to the 2-yard line, it looks like. They'll go second and goal. And they are going no huddle. Franklin quickly behind center, already has 2 rushing touchdowns this season. And trying to barge forward, he does. Make it 3. Well, if this is the beginning of the James Franklin era, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, the future looks bright. Exactly to start the Toronto Argonauts and their new quarterback. We're looking for here today, marching down the field. Slightly penalty-aided, but largely getting it done on their own. 9 plays, 76 yards, 4 minutes, 35 seconds off the clock. An impressive opening drive for James Franklin and the Argonauts.
Peffer hooks one and missed the point after. Replacement for Liram Hairelahu this year. What a great start for James Franklin. Almost perfect on that drive. And the Argos and Franklin strike first. CFL is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. Off the lakeshore, not far from the CN Tower. James Franklin, his first start in quite some time, his 4th Canadian Football League start. And now he will watch the guy he watched and learned from in Edmonton for 3 years, Mike Riley. So he'll bring his offense out on the field. Peffer puts it up. And that sunshine kind of funky for the return game. Jordan Robinson on the return. The mentor's time, the master's time. Mike Riley's offense for the Eskimos next. Week 4 concludes tonight. Back half of our doubleheader, Jonathan Jennings and the Lions at Investors Group Field to take on Andrew Harris and the Bombers. And of course, Matt Nichols back at starting quarterback after missing 4 weeks. And so now Mike Riley. It was the guy who blocked the way for James Franklin. Why? Because he's becoming one of the best quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. Reigning MOP, fumble football, and the Argos Sean Lemon has the football. There are flags everywhere.
Yeah, the flags are likely going to be for interference on the Eskimos trying to prevent Sean Lemon from getting that recovery. But you're going to see the Toronto Argonauts had exactly the right play call on at the right moment here defensively.
Illegal interference on the loose ball. Edmonton number 67. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is first down Toronto.
And down it goes, and there is the Lemonator.
Yeah, there was Cassius Vaughn with the perfectly timed blitz. He's coming off the offensive left to put that hit on C.J. Gable before he's able to secure the football. Sean Lemon, as usual, in the opposing backfield, perfectly positioned to scoop up the loose ball.
Argo's team that has not induced many turnovers. Get a big break here and can add some points on. Franklin, little pump and go, has his man, and Armani Edwards makes a great catch.
Well, now we're just into the Argos' second offensive series of this football game, but James Franklin thus far coming as advertised. And I've got to say, between Levi Noel and Armani Edwards as receivers, doing a great job helping him out.
He'll hand it off to Wilder, who'll cut back and he'll score. And what a start for the Toronto Argonauts. Thanks to the fumble recovery by Sean Lemon, catch by Edwards. And James Wilder Jr. has his first score of 2018. An Argo team that over the first two games had only scored 1 point in both games has now 2 major scores.
We talked about the performance of James Franklin in the past in these Argos-Eskimos matchups. He's been great. Of course, previously on the Eskimo side, but remember James Wilder Jr., his breakout game and biggest game of last season came against these Edmonton Eskimos. 11 carries, 190 yards for him in a September 16th matchup.
This is also an Edmonton team that has struggled defensively early in the season. Looking for 2. Franklin is only blemish so far. Incomplete. But James Franklin and James Wilder have scored touchdowns. Argos got 6 points off the turnover. 2 missed converts, 1 a single, 1 for 2. But here's how this happened.
Yeah, it begins with the defense right here. Cassius Vaughn with the strip. Sean Lemon with the recovery. Big strike on the sudden change. For Monty Edwards, terrific job going up and getting that ball at the high point. And James Wilder Jr. in for the major.
James Wilder saw some young Wilders walking in today. It's okay, Kid can make a fumble early on, but James did not. The Argos flex early on here. Up 12. Eskimos have only run 1 play. There goes Robinson again. Mike Riley trying to right that mistake. Here's how they line up offensively.
Well, we know that the Edmonton Eskimos are a team capable of turning the game around to hurry with the big play. Duke Williams has been Mike Riley's go-to guy in that regard this season. On the offensive line, keep an eye on tackles. Colin Kelly and Matt O'Donnell. We'll get a steady diet of one of the best pass rushers in the Canadian Football League in Sean Lemon this afternoon.
Well, Mike Riley, the warrior. There it goes, another big rush, this time to C.J. Gable on a screen pass and a first down. And Gable squeezes that ball. The Argos were bringing some heat. And there is an injured Argo back at the 30-yard line.
Well, nonetheless, Eskimos taking a page from the Argos early playbook here, going to the screen. Means of managing that pressure. You know, in my weekly consultation with our man DT, tells me Mike Riley, under pressure this year, lowest passer rating among CFL quarterbacks when pressured, but when not pressured, has the highest passer rating. Obviously, we know what the Argos' MO is going to be in terms of trying to slow down number 13 today.
The Argos have those numbers? The Argos have those numbers? You think they must have.
I don't know if they've got DT on retainer or not.
No. Riley, right side. Darrell Walker. His first catch. Mike Riley, number 1 on our TSN preseason poll of top 50 players, and spectacular start despite the loss. And already on a pace like he set last year, maybe even better.
As you saw, through 3 games over 1,000 yards, so on pace, obviously in a very small sample for that special 6,000-yard passing milestone.
Past the midway point of the first quarter, dominated by the double blue. Gable spinning, half the first down yardage. This is an Argo team that also has had to make some changes, alterations defensively from last year to this year.
The loss of Victor Butler followed by an injury to Frank Beltre gives Justin Tuggle a chance to start at the defensive end spot. Terrence Plummer takes over at middle linebacker, both Taylor Reed and Bear Woods on the injured list. Abdul Kane, one of a trio of veteran DBs to join the Argonauts this offseason.
Riley over on that far side in the sunshine. Duke Williams, that's Ronnie Yell on him. Keel Williams already off to a
Yeah, and Williams, a guy that from whom everybody was expecting big things here in 2018, showed flashes a year ago as a Canadian Football League rookie. Lost a little bit of weight this season. Worked very hard through the offseason, knowing as a sophomore what to expect in the Canadian Football League. And as you said, garnering early results.
1st and 10 inside the 35. A little hitch to Kenny Stafford. This treasured chest of riches that Mike Riley has at his disposal. Keep in mind, they lost to Darius Bowman, who went to Winnipeg in the offseason, and they lost Brandon Zylstra, trying to carve some employment in the National Football League.
Well, so much depth in that receiving corps. Losing Vidal Hazelton early this season, but getting Bryant Mitchell back for this game.
Mike Riley's perfect so far. 4 of 4. Pocket closes, and off his hip, Darrell Walker is rocked by Marcus Ball. And he will be short of a first down by a yard and a half.
You'll see the linebackers Marcus Ball and Terrence Plummer converge on the Eskimo receiver.
It was Plummer who did the rocking, and Ball who finished him off. So the Eskimos are going to take the points. They are not going for it on 3rd down. Sean White comes on. Danny O'Brien to hold. White, the veteran, the all-time best in percentages. 32-yarder. Put the Eskimos on the board, and he missed it. Take the Rouge, put Edmonton on the board with a single, but a rarity from 32 from Sean White. It's been that kind of day so far. James Franklin, great start for him. 12-1 Argos. One of the most talked about acquisitions in the offseason, that guy right there who has the keys right now. Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti.
Well, Rod, over the last week when the Argos had a bye, James Franklin naturally wanted to build relationships with his teammates. And how was he going to do that with most of them out of the city? Well, that would be through text message. One problem, when James Franklin went to IKEA here in Toronto last week, he bought a crib for his daughter. He lost his phone. and then it was stolen. And he told us earlier this week that he hoped that no one took that personally, especially the Eskimos, who he knew were trying to get in touch with him. And he didn't mind the chirps when he actually got in touch with some of them. But he had a message for the person who ended up stealing his phone, and that was pretty simple. It's an American phone. You can't use it, guys.
Can't make that up. Franklin. Now the pocket closes, and he escapes to Declan Cross. Maybe a couple yards, but that went from a sack to positive yardage. The phoneless James Franklin.
Gerald Rivers getting the start in place of Kwaku Boateng at defensive end, supplying the heat. But you see the strength of Franklin. You better get low and you better wrap him up. Big, strong guy. The arm tackles aren't going to bring him down.
Called him Frank the Tank in college as the Tank delivers to S.J. Green. And some complimentary words about the young quarterback this week as well. Green, who's worked with some masters like Ricky Ray and Anthony Calvillo. His first catch of the afternoon. Up near the midfield stripe. 1st and 10 reset here for Franklin and the Argos. Hand it off up the middle. And that's the first touch for Brandon Burks in the offensive set out of Troy. Again, his first CFL start today.
We've got Aaron Grimes slow to get up.
So Grimes is on a knee. Will step aside and come back to BMO Field with the Argos leading the Eskimos 12-1. They are old buddies that go back to Grey Cup championships in Edmonton. Jason Moss and Ricky Ray worked together in Toronto. Moss helping to coach Ray up. And then Jason Moss watched last week as his buddy was knocked out of the lineup for the Argos with a heavy heart.
Definitely a scary moment, and as close as I am to him, it hurt more than anything. It's you don't ever like seeing that to anybody, but let alone a great friend of yours. He's always been there for me. I've always tried to support him. You know, he's about as real as it gets. He's about as genuine as it gets. You know, and he's such a good person overall. Care and love for someone like that, and you see someone hurt, it just hurts.
Well, that injury sent shockwaves around the Canadian Football League. Good news is Ricky has responded quite well to treatment the last couple of weeks. Has been walking around. As Franklin, his understudy, throws incomplete. But that was a scary, scary moment.
Yeah, it certainly was. Obviously, anytime you're talking about head and neck type injuries, big collision for Ricky Ray in that one, but glad that he is on the road to recovery.
Not on the sideline, but has been helping the team at meetings, into the early quarterback meetings. Around the team, helping guide James Franklin. This one is a perfect kick by Ronnie Peffer near the coffin corner. Long field for the Eskimos.
Make your getaway with intelligent all-wheel drive in the 2018 Nissan Qashqai.
So Ronnie Peffer, who earlier missed a point after, some redemption here, punting that to the 4-yard line. First kick this season inside the 10-yard line.
He's getting some Hall of Fame advice down there.
Yeah, Hank Olisic on the sideline. There's the legend. So under 3 to go, opening quarter here. First of a home-and-home series between these two teams. Kind of a quirky schedule for the Eskimos and Argos, who will meet next week in Edmonton. Last year they met in September and October. And there is a penalty flag that flies.
Violation, Edmonton number 13. Half the distance to the goal, will repeat first down.
Now the Eskimos were missing a player. Kenny Stafford now sheepishly trots back into the huddle.
Yes, football's version of the walk of shame for Kenny Stafford.
Makes this field a lot longer. Shadows presenting a bit of a challenge as well. As Mike Riley operates towards Lake Ontario. Play action, and Calvin McCarty thunders close to a first down. Feel the earth move when McCarty's out there. Big man, one of the longest tenured Eskimos.
Has been with this team since he was drafted back in 2007.
Great stabilizer.
Yeah, often forgotten. I mean, Calvin McCarty used to be a much bigger part of this offense. Calvin McCarty actually had a season, I believe it was 2009, where he led all CFL running backs in receptions.
They give him the first down. Emerging from the shadows of the goalpost, and Duke Williams on that far side has another reception here. And back-to-back 10-yard plays from Riley to his receivers. And digs the Eskimos out of a huge hole.
Yeah, I mean, you always think about teams and quarterbacks being clutch in terms of their execution near the other team's goal line, but you know, in such a game of field position, almost even more critical when you're deep in your own end to be able to at least get a couple of first downs and balance out the field a bit.
Esks down 11, but it's still only the first quarter. Trying to get some traction. C.J. Gable, who used to play down the QEW in Hamilton and then picked up by the Eskimos late last week. Had a monster week.
Well, he sure did, and he's been a great fit since he arrived in Edmonton the back half of last season. But a week ago, one of his finest moments as an Edmonton Eskimo, 23 carries, 165 yards on the ground, demonstrating that he is very much still a factor here in the Canadian Football League.
2nd and 6, Riley to throw again. He gets rocked, but it's a first down, and there's a penalty flag, and it's on the other side of the field, which might signal some sort of contact or interference. Catch made again. Darrell Walker has made a couple of catches and had to take some jolts.
Illegal contact on receiver. Toronto number 23. 10-yard penalty and a first down for Edmonton.
So they'll take the 10. TJ Heath shaking his head. Heath, who went to the Blue Bombers, of course, and then is back with the Argos. Marcus Ball also laid a lick on Riley as he threw that football. 1st and 10 from the 40. And Riley scrambling on the far side. And another completed pass. Kenny Stafford.
Well, the Eskimos continuing to do it 10, 12 yards at a time in the passing game. And you'll see Riley faces a little bit of pressure, but escapes that pocket. Mike Riley, when he gets off script on the broken play, oh so dangerous.
Riley and the Eskimos, 2nd in net offense, 2nd in points scored. They've given up a lot of yards, though, and have given up a lot of points. And complete that time on the final play of the opening quarter. Not a good one for Riley and the Eskimos, who got it going in late in that first quarter. Just the 1 point on the board on a missed field goal, but a tremendous start for James Franklin, the former Eskimo, and the Argos. First 2 series, touchdown, touchdown. That's the story right now as we head to the second quarter on some Saturday football on TSN. Good start for the Toronto Argos finally early in this season as they have a 12-1 lead, and all the talk about James Franklin, and I'm sure he would like to have a start under very different conditions. But Dwayne Ford, can you think of a time where a team has had a quarterback, and we always talk about developing quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League, but a guy who's actually been really ready to be a starter the last couple of years and has had to finally wait and get his time?
Yeah, you know, the guy to whom it's probably similar, and for James Franklin, I think a lot of people feel like the wait has been a little bit longer. We talked about that big breakout start back in 2016 against the Toronto Argonauts, and a whole other year goes by before he gets a chance to make this start. But very similar circumstance to the guy under whom he apprenticed, Mike Riley, who developed into a starting caliber quarterback in BC, was headed towards free agency and got traded before he became a free agent to a team in need.
Far side, Williams shakes a tackle, yards after the catch. Haven't really had any deep shots here so far for a big play team like the Eskimos. You're kind of waiting here that you know Mike Riley eventually is going to go deep, but so far he is slicing and dicing.
Well, you feel like with every one of these sort of 10 or 12 yard shots, as the defense backs off and has to come up to make tackles, the D starts anticipating those. That'll be the moment when someone's going past him.
Read option, and it's Stafford. Give you an idea, the Eskimos and the CFL this year have some downfield depth stats. Duke Williams average about 20 yards for most of his catches. Darrell Walker around 9 yards per catch. But right now, everybody's around 7 to 9 yards. So we'll see if he opens it up. Efficient so far. 10th play of this drive, and Gable achieves the first down. We always talk about the fight in Mike Riley. We also should talk about the patience and the lack of panic from Mike Riley.
Yeah, well, we've talked in the past about Riley and his record in fourth quarters, leading comebacks and so on, and that's a big part of it.
Did not get the first down, 3rd and inches. Wanted that spot, and the second effort will do it. But there's a penalty marker on the far side. That looked like some movement.
Offside. Toronto. This is a 5-yard penalty. Result will be a first down, Edmonton.
So no matter, they'll move it 5. Bring it inside the 30-yard line.
Look at the surge in the middle of that Eskimos offensive line. Wide center Justin Sorensen. Guards Travis Bond and David Beard.
Riley with time, pocket closes, penalty coming, and likely a hold here. Afforded Mike Riley a little more time. Something wrong with his helmet. And those speakers are inside that helmet where he gets plays from
holding
his coaches.
Edmonton, number 66, 10-yard penalty. It remains first down.
1st and 20 now.
Well, Big Matt O'Donnell flagged on the play. He's caught in a tough position here as Dylan Wynn, the defensive tackle, is twisting out to him, which essentially already gave him inside position on O'Donnell.
Eating up a lot of yardage on this drive and then moving it back, but eating a lot of clock as well. Riley hums it in down near the 20. Again, it's DeKeel, the Duke Williams, former star out of Auburn, and broke onto the scene last year and then got lost in the numbers game.
Well, you'll see how Duke Williams finds a soft spot in coverage here between levels. Well-timed pass. from Mike Riley to hit him in that window.
Well, it's going to be 2nd and 1, maybe a play here to get a freebie for Riley. Or will they go after the first down? Well, they'll leave it on the ground, and going backwards is C.J. Gable. And that backfired completely on the Eskimos. Argos penetrate that backfield, and the Eskimos are going to have to bring out their kick team.
Yeah, this one doomed early as Gable tries to bounce it off tackle to the left. But Terrence Plummer appeared in his face and turned him back the other way. And second-year man Plummer.
Well, Sean White missed one early. And it was from almost the same distance, but the other way. It was 32, this is 33. White, no problem this time. Makes it an 8-point game. Argos bring their offense back on the field, including last year's CFL Rookie of the Year, who earlier today scored his first touchdown of 2018. In the huddle with the Argos, there he is, James Wilder Jr. Star was born in the Canadian Football League last season.
Yeah, breakout game against these Edmonton Eskimos. 11 carries, 190 yards, and a touchdown. 250 total yards in that game.
Handed off to the diminutive Martese Jackson, who has to dance around and is going nowhere, stuck for a loss. Play that goes astray. The mighty might Martese Jackson.
The Argos are looking for a little bit of a key break in terms of Wilder being used more as a lead blocker in this instance. I think the one thing you want to be careful of is that anytime Martese Jackson is in the game, that he's not just automatically getting the ball, because I think that's what the Eskimos keyed on.
Franklin drops it to Wilder. And he bashes his way close to the 45-yard line. We'll have to see where the spot is before the 45. Had to get to the 45 for a first down, so a huge pickup here. 17 yards for Wilder. Dump pass out of the backfield. It will be 3rd and inches. Key play here for the Argos and for the Esks D. Franklin may not have got there. We'll have to see where they spot the football. The Eskimos putting it down there, but let's see where the spot is. They have to be on the 45-yard line. If it's not, it's Eskimo football. They will measure. Franklin had his helmet down, and that's when that contact came.
And J.C. Sherritt, like a heat-seeking missile, made the initial hit on his former teammate.
Not getting it. So the Argos with their first turnover on downs, thanks to J.C. Sherritt. Edmonton will bring their offense back on the field. Big 3rd down stand by the green and gold.
Well, J.C. Sherritt, no surprise, leading the charge in short yardage here. Like a heat-seeking missile to the ball carrier, James Franklin. Just knocks him back, ending any hopes of the Argos picking up a first down.
Still got that stop. We can get them every time. We can get them every time.
J.C. stops his old teammate, James Franklin. And the Eskimos right now have a chance to take it to the house as Gable scampers for a first down, get a 2-point convert, and suddenly tie this game, and momentum has swung in a serious way.
Watch the job that C.J. Gable does here to help out his blocker, Colin Kelly, the right tackle. By selling that he's going to go to the outside here, Gable forces the defender to fight outside on 67 Kelly. And that creates a lane for Gable to make that quick cut inside, pick up positive yardage.
Positive yardage as well for Mike Riley. One of the Eskimos' leading rushers, one of the leading rushers in the league, a guy who can go with the ball. Will Tuckett scores a lot of touchdowns close to the goal line as well. Had 12 last year. Already has 4 touchdowns in 3 games by himself. Can't stop him. You know he's going to do it. They set up shop at the 32.5. Slant pattern for Walker. 25-yard line. Mike Riley's put up some big, gaudy numbers against the Argos, but look at that bottom line.
And you know, Mike Riley, like really any quarterback of any substance, is all about wins and losses.
Riley's on fire, though, this afternoon. 12 of 13, 133 yards in the air. It's Gable again. Looks like he'll move the sticks once more. And the Eskimos who rely so much on that big play capability, the deep shots, haven't shown that yet, haven't played that hand yet, but this has been very effective, although they only have 4 points on the board.
Yeah, this is the thing. After a quick start by the Argos, the Eskimos have moved the ball fairly well. You look at Mike Riley's numbers, 12 of 13 thus far, for 133 yards through the air. But it's about finish.
Longest pass play for it, he's been only 19 yards. There's another short one. Williams cut, another cut, and a spin, and a flag. Near the 15-yard line. Andre Proulx sorting this out.
Holding Edmonton, number 11, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
What's hurt the Eskimos as well, getting close to the red zone, is this stuff in this ball game.
Yeah, keep an eye on Nate Behar. Makes good initial contact, but because he's not really sure which way Duke Williams is going, he gets caught in a bit of a holding situation as he tries to block up Ronnie Yell.
It was a good call by the officiating crew. Eskimos have to hurry up here. Play clock coming down to single digits. First and 20. Riley moves the pocket again, and a juggling catch is made by C.J. Gable, but nowhere near that first down marker. Second and long again.
Riley appeared to look off the flat on the front side to his left before checking down to Gable the other way. Either way, they were going to be very limited in terms of the yardage they'd be able to pick up there.
Argos front line providing some heat on Mike Riley so far, even though he's almost been perfect from the air. Nothing deep. Now he throws it down inside the 10. One of the biggest plays so far for the Eskimos, and they threaten again. Sir Duke inside the 10-yard line.
Well, it's been a whole lot of Duke Williams and not much else from the Edmonton Eskimos receiving corps so far in this ball game. Riley and big number 81 continue to be on the same page.
Duke, 5 catches, 78 yards. Riley near perfect, 14 of 15. They threaten the goal line. Gable now jumping up, soaring. And they're saying touchdown, flag down as well. Back near the 15. This looks like it may come back.
Edmonton number 44, a 10-yard penalty will repeat first down.
Penalties a bane for the Eskimos in the early season and in this ball game.
Alexandre Dupuis, big fullback. He's lined up as a tight end to the right side of the formation. I know corner Ronnie Yell Ended up on the ground at the end of this. Dupuis on the defensive end. Going to ring the call.
They move it back, first and goal. Eskimos already 37 yards of penalties. Little pump and go. And Williams pulls that in somehow. Riley kind of pump faked, then gave it back to Williams. It was almost like a basketball play. Duke goes up and gets it, but nowhere near the goal line.
I'm looking for a minute there like Duke Williams was going to get blown up. He had an Argonaut defender right on his back as soon as that ball arrived.
10th play again of this drive. When will the Eskimos find the house in this ball game? They've owned time of possession, still trailed by 8. Riley end zone. Jump ball. Argos win that toss. And Ronnie Yell has the interception in the end zone. Receiver sliding in the end zone. Darrell Walker slipped. Ronnie Yell has his first pick as an Argo.
The Argos are rolling again.
We all live for moments of greatness. Those moments can only be achieved when we pull together.
Argos pulling together here with another turnover. Ronnie Yell, the former Lion. And as BMO Field, great a sight as this is, there is a quirk in that north end zone, Dwayne Ford.
Yeah, and you'll see right as Darrell Walker gets to the goal line, there's a transition. You can see it in the color as it goes from natural turf to field turf. Different surfaces. Ideally, for the best traction, you'd want different kinds of shoes. Obviously, you can't change your shoes in the middle of a play. Darrell Walker blows a tire. Ronnie Yell gets the pick.
James Wilder on 2nd and 2. Swallowed up. Seen that happen before, and there is a little bit of field turf on the south side as well, but again, this is a natural grass field. It's a soccer stadium. There you see the difference. So natural grass, you probably have a bit of a longer cleat.
Well, yeah, natural grass, you want something that's going to allow you to dig in. Some of the same cleats will work from one surface to the other, but the fact is you're not going to be able to dig in the same way to get the same traction with a long turf on the field turf that you would on grass.
Not the first time we have seen that. 3rd and 2 now. Argos still owning an 8-point advantage. Can't capitalize on the turnover, but they keep the Eskimos off the board. Ball bouncing backwards here. Jordan Robinson, they'll just pick it up. It looked like no yards or a hole down there. A 38-yard kick. Mike Riley trying to get it together here in TO.
Let's go, guys. Argos rule.
3 minutes to halftime. Coming up, thoughts on James Franklin, Mike Riley's new favorite receiver, the Duke, and that great defensive play on 3rd down and short by J.C. Sherritt. It's all a few minutes away. Try to relax, Dunnigan. Let's go back to Rod Duane.
Oh, those studio guys.
Hardest working guys in sports media right there.
2.5 minutes from them. Riley back to Williams. And Duke Williams, another big gain with more on the Duke. Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, when you look at Duke Williams' story, those who know it will trace it all the way back to when he was at Auburn, removed from Auburn's football program by head coach Gil Malzahn. The one thing that Duke has tried to do is build his maturity, because he wants to be a receiver in the vein of a Darius Bowman, Darrell Walker, Brandon Zusswell, this great Eskimos receiver. So what did Duke do in the offseason? He ran to lose about 10 pounds. But this season, he's spending so much time alongside his biggest teacher. That's Darrell Walker. Let's go back to week 1. There was an issue that Williams had with the route, and obviously he's on the field right now. But the fact is, when he was in week 1, he was with Walker. Walker helped him out with some routes. But just at this point, with him on the field, the Eskimo staff did early on take a look at his right knee. So that might be something they're looking at right now, guys.
Tripped up. Dylan Wynn was retreating, and Duke was in some agony, it looked like. Again, Mike Riley, just that release valve. There's Wynn. Kind of crumpled Williams.
That's a
right there.
Big body.
On the back
landing on the lower leg of the receiver. You got a sense of the fraternity that exists among players in the Canadian Football League. Both S.J. Green and James Wilder Jr. both walked over from the Argo bench to give Duke Williams a pat on the shoulder pads as he was down.
Matthew was talking earlier as well about Duke Williams was getting work on that leg. His other leg before that. Trying to get another update. There's the GM, Brock Sunderland. Roll out to Calvin McCarty out of the backfield. Barrels up into Toronto territory. It's crazy for the Eskimos. Football's a game of numbers in so many ways, and they have owned one category in particular.
Well, they sure have. Time of possession almost doubling the Argos in that category, yet you'd never guess it from the scoreboard.
Well, having a real inability to finish as they get into that red zone. Penalties, turnovers so far today, a missed field goal, and hence the 12-4 score. Riley gets it going again, has some time here. 2-minute offense. They have been able to move the ball. He's put up some huge numbers in the first half. That rush again. Riley, his deep ball now. Jump ball for Bryant Mitchell. That's some serious vertical, but couldn't come down with the ball.
And you may see if Duke Williams is down for an extended period here. The role of Bryant Mitchell, making his first start of 2018 very quickly grow.
Former star at Northwestern State is Mitchell, native of San Diego, California. And Brock Sunderland able to add so much depth. There's Mitchell going right back to him. Argo's trying to push him back, but he'll get the benefit of the spot near the 40, so it'll be about a half yard short of a first down. 90 seconds to go before halftime.
Mike Riley already with 200 yards through the air in this ball game. 18 of 21. Again, impressive individual stats, as we saw, as he's had historically against the Toronto Argonauts. The Sultan of Stats, John Russin, has him at 86% in his completions.
Riley follows center and that left side. First down with an update on Tequil Williams. Let's go down to Matt.
Rod, earlier in the half, they were looking at Duke Williams' right leg in his quad, but they've been looking at his ankle the last couple of minutes. And to be fair, Duke Williams looked completely disinterested when they were checking the tenderness and the range of motion. Now they're just taping it up, and he's been staring at his offensive line, just wanting to get back on the field. He looks like he's about to put his sock right back on, guys.
They are taping up again, so see if the Duke will get back into this formation. Eskimos a great chance here before halftime to tie this up. BMO Field on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Stuffed is C.J. Gable again. Certainly say the Argos have been the epitome of bend, don't break.
Yeah, they've hung tough, and as we've said, they've given up some yardage. You see defensive coordinator Mike Archer. Happy to see his group hanging tough.
Second home game for the Argos of 2018. Trying to pick up win number 1. Riley pumps now and lays it up and dropped Darrell Walker, and a penalty flag. And this will keep the drive going. And it's against the Argos. They're saying that it was a push on Darrell Walker.
Pass interference. Toronto number 23. Automatic first down at point of foul. First down.
It has been a tough first half for TJ Heath.
Well, we'll take a closer look here. Saw the pump by Riley. Heath trailing. You know, that's looking at it in slow motion. And yeah, there's some contact. I'm just not convinced of how much he really impacts the receiver on this play, his ability to catch the ball.
Mark Trestman. Haven't seen him like that in quite some time, so chatting with Andre Proulx, did put the challenge flag on the turf. You know, again, you see it in slow motion, but to the naked eye, from we're watching from here, that did not look.
Toronto is challenging the previous play. They believe there was no defensive pass interference on the play. The play will be reviewed.
Especially when it's looking like kind of a 50-50 ball here.
Yeah, and it's the matchup with Walker on the outside. Corner is dropped deep. The cover 3, Heath, the halfback, running with Walker. And you can see, yeah, there is contact, but remember, Walker's momentum is taking him in a direction away from the ball as well. I don't think Heath is driving him further away from the football.
And right in front of that Argo bench, Heath and Marcus Ball.
You know, it's not a case of face guarding. He makes a play on the football.
So CFL command looking at this. If they're going to call that interference, there'll be a lot of interference calls.
Yeah.
Are we close to a verdict? Here's Andre Proulx. Decision is in. Well, maybe we don't have the decision yet. Crowd waits, Trestman waits, Jason Moss waits.
After review by the command center, there was no defensive pass interference on the play. It will be third down.
First half got better for TJ Heath just now.
Strong defensive play there for the Argo halfback.
So with 46 to go, the Argos also could get the ball back. Sean White returns to add some points, but nothing close to what the Eskimos certainly envisioned on that drive. As we said, absolutely dominating time of possession and the flow of the game, but they just can't finish. 47-yarder now for White. 1 for 2 today. Oh, they're going to fake it. And it's going to be an onside kick. Sean White putting it up and knocked away. Penalty flag down. So it was slow to develop.
Yeah, now the guys in motion that looped out there just need to be behind Sean White when the ball is kicked in order to be onside and eligible to recover that football. And again, remember in the Canadian Football League, they don't have to have control of the ball as it goes out of bounds. They just need to be the last to touch before it goes out.
Edmonton number 45 was onside on the play, and he was the last player to touch the football before it went out of bounds. Therefore, it will be first down, Edmonton.
Slow to develop, but it worked. Let's take another look as they set this up.
Yeah, Corey Jones was the first man out, widest guy to the right, breaking from the wing, and he is the man who taps that football out of bounds to maintain possession for the Edmonton Eskimos.
So the Eskimos, like they will not give the ball back to Toronto's offense. And we'll go for more points. Trying to get it to the house now. Riley. Incomplete. 8 up 7 seconds. Still plenty of time here for 2 or 3 passes, though. And Duke is back. Likely are going to hear from him on this drive.
Yeah, welcome sight for the Edmonton Eskimos, and especially for Mike Riley, as Duke Williams has counted for close to half of Riley's passing yardage on the day.
Low scoring first half. Argos on their first 2 possessions scored touchdowns that were not converted. Eskimos have no touchdowns yet. And that ball up for grabs on the far side for Kenny Stafford, and it looks like Sean White might have to come out again, and he will, and this time likely will kick. Clock ticking down to 29. It'll be 3rd down.
A missed opportunity here for the Edmonton Eskimos, but Dylan Wynn appeared to get a piece of Mike Riley's arm as he released that football.
Oh, Riley going up gigantic numbers in the first half. 19 for 23 for 200 yards. But they're only going to get points off Sean White's leg. 12-7 now the score.
Skyscraper, starring Dwayne Johnson, in theaters July 13th.
He'll be first in line to see that movie, won't you? Gotta love The Rock. James Franklin. First 2 series of this ball game. Not a touchdown. Turnover, and another touchdown came from the Argos, and they haven't done much offensively, mostly because their offense hasn't been on the field. Look at the
bottom
difference.
of that screen. Time of possession. 8-minute edge here in the first half for the team that's behind by 5.
Oh, they're going for some more yards and points here, trying to get out of bounds. They won't. Far side for Malcolm Williams. So 18 seconds. Argos trying to get it into field goal range here, it looks like. Not conservative at all. Will they change their tact? Yes, they will. 2nd and 2. 9 seconds to go, and unlikely here to take a deep shot. How do you evaluate what you've seen from James Franklin so far?
Well, getting limited opportunities when you consider that difference in time of possession, but certainly making the most of his first couple of possessions at the helm of this Argo offense.
Well, he's going from the gun with 5 seconds. And he can load it up, and there it goes. And into traffic for S.J. Green. So guys taking a shot. So did the Argos. They got the first 2 shots in this ball game. Led 12-zip early on. Eskimos, however, have failed to hit the end zone. What an interesting ball game, back and forth here at BMO Field in Toronto. 12-7 Argos at the half. Here's Rod Smith.
Part 2 of the doubleheader coming up later. Investors Group Field in Winnipeg. And Matt Nichols is back for the Bombers against the BC Lions. By the way, Attica Riots playing at the half. And that game coming up on TSN. We are at the half of this game in Toronto. Here's Milt with the stats.
Well, not a bad first half for Mike Riley. 19 for 24, 202 yards. But how many fantasy points does he have, Matt?
Only 6.7.
And if you're the most expensive player in fantasy football, you have to do better than that. Come on there, Matt.
Who took James Franklin? Here he is now with Matthew Schnetti.
James, I imagine the way your offense started is the way that you liked, but what happened as the half went on? What do you need to improve upon in the second half?
Just being consistent still. I mean, I had that one throw that could have continued the drive. Threw a little bit low outside, need to step into it. As an offense, I mean, the guys are executing pretty well. They're blocking really good. We just need to finish and, get another yard or two so we stop getting third and short. But the guys are feeling good. We need to feed off the defense's energy. They've done a good job turning the ball over and getting us in good field position. And hopefully the second half we can capitalize.
How are you feeling? Listen, you've started in this league before. You've been successful when you've started. What did you feel those first couple of series? Could you find comfort in the huddle?
Oh, yes, sir. And that's what the guys have helped me with all week, just continuing to stay comfortable and confident out here. And I felt that out there on the field. The guys responded well, and they were making plays out there, so that always helps.
Thanks, James.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
James Franklin, 7 for 10, 112 yards. A lot of that in the first two possessions like that to Levi Noel. A touchdown, James Wilder Jr. as well. The Argos hanging on despite being outplayed. They got the 12-7 lead.
Off the shores of Lake Ontario, BMO Field, where the Argos lead the Edmonton Eskimos 12-7. The matchup between James Franklin and Mike Riley, the teacher and the understudy. Right now, the apprentice leading the way. Here's Mike Riley with Matthew Shinetti.
Mike, what do you have to do when you're going downfield to turn those threes into sixes?
You just got to be disciplined. I mean, penalties and turnovers, what we talk about. We've been bad with both in the first half. Took points off the board, down the red zone with an interception, and we scored a touchdown, got called back on a penalty, and we settled with a field goal. So we got to clean that stuff up.
And quickly, what's Duke Williams doing to earn your trust?
I mean, he's just being where he needs to be when I need him to be there.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Well, the rub for Duke, the Eskimos, Mike Riley this season, though, 40. They've been -8 in the first half over their first 3 games. It's in the second half where they turn it on. They've been +3 in third quarters and +10 in fourth quarters in winning time. And we know what Mike Riley's about. You don't want to give him the ball with a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing about going into that fourth quarter is we talk all the time about the impact of winning time of possession, wearing down another team's defense. The Edmonton Eskimos ran 40 offensive plays in the first half of this football game. So that's going to take something out of the Argo defense as we go forward.
Jordan Robinson chopped down on that return. But Mike Riley had plenty of offense, using everybody.
As usual, spreading that football around. Riley throwing for a high percentage. Already over 200 yards. Nearly half of those yards going to Duke Williams. He's become his go-to guy here in 2018.
And we talked about Riley's patience, though, and his ability to take the shot. They haven't taken a deep shot yet. And this one's up for grabs. Batted down. Not to be forgotten in all of this is the bend not breaking of the defense of the Argos and the pressure that they are asserting on Mike Riley in that pocket.
Yeah, a few guys have been very noticeable in this ball game. Sean Lemon with the deflection there. He had the fumble recovery early on. Dylan Wynn has well, quite frankly, been Dylan Wynn. I think one of the most underrated players in the Canadian Football League. Always a force from his defensive tackle spot. That Argo front doing a pretty good job.
2nd and 10, Riley deep drop. Wanted to go deep now. Dishes it off. Up the middle, a penalty flag down. Natea J coming back home. Former Argo. Crossing pattern over the middle and
defensive holding. Toronto number 23. That penalty's declined. First down, Edmonton.
25-yard catch. Riley just laying it in there perfectly.
The Edmonton Eskimos in Natea J and Nate Behar starting 2 Canadian receivers. That's allowed them to get an extra international, extra American into their secondary.
Biggest reception so far on a game. Catch in the ball game for the Eskimos, 25-yarder. Keep in mind, over the first 3 games, they've had a 101-yard reception, 88-yard reception. They're a big play team that like to go deep. Have not seen it yet.
Yet being the key word.
2nd and 9. Couple yards into Argo territory. And we had movement on the line. And this play will not start.
Legal procedure. Edmonton number 57. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Right guard David Beard.
2nd and 14. Let's hear you, Argos fans. 2nd and long. It's 2nd down.
Argos have done a decent job with their blitz package, getting a little bit of pressure on Mike Riley. We'll see what they have concocted here. 4-man rush.
Out of the backfield the other way, trying to cross the Argos up. No doing. Team Jordan brings down C.J. Gable, and that will bring out the kick team again. And Hugh O'Neill. Only the first punt into the 2nd half. Only 7 points on the board. That's almost something you never hear of. Hugh O'Neill will boot it down to Martese Jackson. One of the fastest players in the league. Hugh O'Neill, who's had 4 balls land inside the 10-yard line this season. Look out. Jackson is hammered downfield very quickly. James Franklin, first rushing touchdown of the game, 3rd of the season. Argos had 2 early touchdowns and nothing since then. They lead by 5 on TSN.
Hey, thanks for that sack.
If they give you a sack on that, I'm gonna write an email.
They can't stop me. I don't know what it is. Oh my God.
Wired for Sound, CFL Wired behind the scenes, wired up players. Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN 1, 3, 4, and 5. Good sound down there at BMO Field. Shadows getting longer now. James Franklin tucks it and takes it. And Frank the Tank slides up near the 40-yard line. The former star out of Missouri has the ability to do that. An 18-yard scoot by James Franklin.
Well, he watched James Franklin pulls away from J.C. Sheridan's space here. A little high step to avoid the tackle. Nice added element to the Toronto Argonauts offense. Quarterback with, to be fair, a little more running ability than Ricky Ray.
Argos trying to get some balance. James Franklin talking about that first half. Quite frankly, for Franklin, hardly on the field because of what Mike Riley and the Eskimos were doing, just not scoring. Certainly a passing grade for James Franklin in his first start of 2018, 4th start of his career. Great pass right there early to Levine Noel. This one set up the touchdown. His ability to improvise as well. This is a guy who a star-filled NCAA career. Back to pass. And the pressure on, it almost picked off as they got to Franklin.
That time, Alex Bazzi, former BC Lion, coming from the right side of your screen, working against left tackle William Campbell, the man who gets to James Franklin.
So Ronnie Peffer has to come out and boot this away on 3rd down. Sackless ball game. We've got a penalty flag that was flown just as the ball was snapped.
Yeah, you're probably going to get 13 men in the formation for the Argos.
And the Eskimos, if that's the case, we'll see what they do as far as this call is concerned. 56-yard kick and 9-yard return.
Too many men on the field. Toronto, this is a 10-yard penalty. We're going to re-kick. Third over.
We will re-kick when we come back. In fact, we're not going to go away.
Psych.
Psych. So 10 yards should be more advantageous field position for the Eskimos. Peffer spent time with the Ottawa Redblacks and the Argos.
Well, Argos will get their personnel straight here. Now it'll be interesting as these guys have just run down to cover a punt. If anybody's a little fatigued second time around.
There's an even better kick by Peffer. What a boot from the Laurier Golden Hawk, Jordan Robinson. And another flag is down here on this return by Robinson. Now we'll go to break. No side kick. Come back and join us back at BMO. Heating up here in Toronto. Well, some Edmonton Eskimo fans here in Toronto. Always travel well. There was holding on that kick, and so after all that, a 100-yard field now for Riley and the Eskimos, who put it on the turf, and bashing forward is C.J. Gable. And he'll move the sticks.
A good hard run for C.J. Gable, just straight north-south. Lowering his shoulder, carrying some defenders with him.
11 carries, 33 yards for the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, who last week against BC romped for 165. Hasn't been that kind of game yet. CJ, a lot of passing, a lot of dinking and dunking. Hit screen. Kenny Stafford breaks it outside, and once again Mike Riley extricating his team from the shadows of his goalposts. Back-to-back plays, as they did earlier.
Nice efforts by the guys with the ball in their hands. We saw C.J. Gable, we said, picking up a chunk of those yards after first contact, and Kenny Stafford doing a nice job making people miss.
Just got a feeling, though, that Mike Riley is going to load it up soon and take a shot. Duke Williams near the front of your screen, going over the top off that front foot. Nate Bahar has the catch up near the 50-yard line. From a Carlton Raven, also a homecoming for Bahar. 5th overall pick by the Eskimos last year. Native of London, Ontario. He and Mattea Jay, the Canadian receivers. Eskimos also signed Samuel Giguère. Add to their complement. Gable gets the give. Going nowhere. Troy Davis meets him head on. This game has really become a bit of a tug-of-war since that early start. All the offense. Defensive tussle. I wonder, too, this Argo defense has been on the field a lot in this game. They're going to have enough gas as we approach the 4th quarter. They show blitz. Here it comes. There goes the ball. Riley's hit. Stafford can't run underneath it. And timed up that blitz package. Free safety Jermaine Gabriel comes soaring in.
You're going to see Jermaine Gabriel time it up and come off the right side of that offensive line, unaccounted for in the blocking scheme. Riley knows he's got to accelerate his action, get the ball out quickly, but even at that, it ends up being well ahead of the receiver to force 3rd down.
Hugh O'Neill. Second punt. The game, and in this half, Jackson makes one miss. Martese Jackson will be shoved out of bounds at the 20-yard line. An 8-yard return, a 47-yard kick, and a 5-point Argo lead in T-Dot.
And there you see, former teacher, former student. Now they find themselves rivals, but the respect remains constant from James Franklin.
Mike Riley, 261 today. Franklin, 114. James Franklin always waiting for his shot, playing behind Mike Riley, but Riley's so durable and so good. Franklin, read option. And James Franklin, of course, tremendous respect for his teacher.
The thing that I really appreciated about Mike is how supportive he always was, which is really hard when you're the starter and you're trying to support the backup, because essentially they could potentially take your spot. Not that they do too well, but so that relationship is either really bad or really good, and I was fortunate enough that ours was really good.
Well, and now, because of Ricky Ray's situation, James Franklin getting a shot here in Toronto. Going deep over the shoulder. Levi Noel, big gain here.
Do you think Levi Noel wants to stay in that starting lineup?
That's two big gains, two big catches from Levi Noel, courtesy of James Franklin.
And a perfectly thrown ball here from James Franklin. Watch the touch on this one as he drops it in stride.
So a big gainer. 50-yarder inside the 34. And handed off. You saw James Franklin and Ricky Ray and Mike Riley hugging. In a conference call this week, James Franklin said, "Yeah, I can't wait to give him a nice two-handed hug." And Mike Riley said, "I'm not hugging him. I'm not going to get in." Of course he did, and that's why they were having some fun. But Mike Riley, one of the classiest guys you will meet in pro sports. I could imagine how beneficial it was for James Franklin to learn underneath him, and as James Franklin has learned in his brief time as well with Ricky Ray.
A couple of pretty good teachers.
Franklin, and that is picked off. Only the second interception. Maurice McKnight has his first CFL pick. Turnover by the Argos. McKnight rolls over with the football, and the Eskimos have it. The most incredible season yet as everyday heroes take on the race, the Amazing Race Canada Heroes Edition, Tuesday at 8, 9 Mountain on CTV, and a couple of those heroes are with Matthew Shinetti.
Absolutely, Rod. Mar and Leanne, who are Argos cheerleaders, and they've got their Grey Cup championship rings, but to the point about the Amazing Race, look, the fact is when I travel, I often misplace my passport. I've done it in Australia, I've done it in Italy, I've done it really all across Europe. So give me what I should be doing. What am I doing wrong, Mark?
You're not having a consistent place to put it. We always knew that it was in a particular pocket of our backpack, because when we checked into the mat, you had to have your passport, or else you'd have to go back and search for it.
Now, Leanne, when it comes down to crunch time, you got to be somewhere, you got to solve a puzzle. Who is the person on point?
That would be me. I am the person who is calming Mar down all the time. She gets flustered sometimes, but we learn to work around those curves. I learned to just look her in the eyes, give her that look of like, take a breath, take a second, and then just keep going with it. And that's what got us through. I mean, we won the first leg of the race, so let's see what the future holds.
So much pressure when you're on the field and you have to perform. So how does that translate into what you're doing in the competition, Mark?
Well, you only get one shot to do the dance perfectly in front of all of these amazing Argos fans. So for us, we really just wanted to get through every single challenge the first try. And you know what? If we mess up, let's just go for it again. I mean, you don't win every single game in the season, so you can't let that get you down. You could still be successful in the end, just like the Argos Grey Cup Championship last year.
there's that shot. Speaking of amazing, and there's a flag down. Kenny Stafford, because of that celebration, looks like he is going to take a penalty, but a 50-yard pass. We were waiting for that big shot from Mike Riley. He went twice downfield quickly.
After the play, objectionable conduct, Edmonton number 8. This is a 10-yard penalty and a first down Edmonton.
50-yard pass, take it back 10, so a 40-yard gain. Still that deep shot, and the Argos were caught as Stafford was behind cover.
Yeah, and you knew at some point the Eskimos were going to take that deep shot. It's just a question of who's it going to. Is it going to be Kenny Stafford, Duke Williams, or Darrell Walker? Because they've all caught bombs this year. As for the penalty, my only issue with that particular penalty, I'd like to see that one enforced or not enforced consistently. See the rule applied consistently.
Riley drills one, and Stafford again. Call him down, but on a first down. Great to see those cheerleaders who are part of the Heroes Edition. Matthew Shinetti worried about his passport. But could you see Shinetti on a zip line like that, or doing any of that stuff?
Not a chance.
He can barely stand on the sidelines. Our amazing Matthew Shinetti.
And Kenny Stafford, the Pier, did manage to keep his hands and forearms underneath that ball to secure the catch. Great call by the official.
Still a 12-7 game, 3 minutes to go, third quarter. And up the gut. Great play there. Nice romp by C.J. Gable. And the Eskimos really starting to move the football again and own that possession clock. Chance to get their first lead if they can get it into the end zone here. So many opportunities, Dwayne. Nullified by the Argos defense. We've tightened it up when the Eskimos get this close. Second and inches. Almost 10 full minutes and way more plays for Jason Moss and the Eskimos.
You can see the body language a little bit in that Argo defense. Some guys starting to walk around with their hands on their hips. Early sign that a little bit of fatigue is setting in as they've been on the field a lot.
Trying to turn that turnover into some points. Back shoulder. Darrell Walker looking to the end zone, will score. Touchdown Eskimos. Just like that.
Well, this is just beautiful execution between Mike Riley and Darrell Walker. That back shoulder throw.
I'm living my best life.
Walker forces the defender to respect his speed, selling it that he's taken that hard outside release. Gets TJ Heath backed off. Riley throws a dart to the back shoulder as Walker slams on the brakes.
Make it happen.
So the Eskimos finally find the end zone. Sean White with the point after. And they have their first lead of the ball game, and it comes in the late going of the third quarter. And it comes off an interception. Only the second career interception by James Franklin, his former teammate.
Yeah, that was sweet.
And
hey, let's ball now, huh?
Darrell Walker, his third touchdown of the season.
Just beautiful timing. You see no hesitation as Riley steps in and throws that with authority.
More time to throw that time as well. And you said it, the fatigue that could be setting in. Now it's up to the Argos offense to try to get some continuity.
Yeah, exactly. Put together a drive. It's not necessarily about the big play and score, but obviously trailing here late in the third, you'll take the points however you get them. But that being said, the ideal situation for the Toronto offense would be to churn out a drive here that lets their defense take a bit of a blow.
Mike Riley, 346 yards. He might get close to 500 yards of offense here today in the air. 2-point advantage. Silencer from Darrell Walker and Mike Riley here at BMO Field. This kick could bounce out of bounds. It will, in front of Brandon Burks.
Illegal kick out of bounds. Edmonton number 70. The ball will be placed on the 45-yard line. First down, Toronto.
That is a costly missed kick. Good starting point for Franklin. Again, just has not been on the field very much. And when he has, been able to connect with Levi Noel. Costly interception last time by Mo McKnight. Haven't heard much from S.J. Green in this ball game. Just one catch. Armani Edwards as well.
And you know, at times it can be about the guys with whom you have some chemistry. You have to imagine Franklin.
And has been with Levi Noel.
Working with the second unit to this point in the season. He's probably had a few more reps with Levi Noel than he may have had with some others, but that being said, the Argos are coming off a bye. You know, last couple of weeks, Franklin has known he'd be the guy.
They have kind of abandoned the run. James Wilder did that early in the ball game. The Argos were off to the race. Up 12 zip. Look out now. Franklin's going down. First sack of the ball game. And they're storing it up, and it's Mark Mackey. London, Ontario, and McMaster grad. And an Edmonton Eskimo draft pick who returned to school last year and is now coming home and doing this.
Yeah, Mackey supplied some pressure and got to James Franklin actually on the interception. The guy who forced the hurry throw, and that time in for the sack.
First sack of the game, couldn't come at a worse time for the Argos, moves them back. Likely the final play, barring penalty, of the third quarter, which was dominated again by the Eskimos, who have taken their first lead. Robinson out of bounds. Clock is at zeros. We head to the fourth. And now it's time for the Argos to play catch up, but the Eskimos, a good fourth quarter team. Mark Mackey coming home, making a big play. And the Edmonton Eskimos have a 14-12 lead, the first half of our doubleheader on week 4 of this Saturday in Toronto. Certainly not a masterpiece that has been painted by Mike Riley today, but it is a grind-em-out game for Riley. But look at the numbers that he is putting up. Monstrous again, and the time of possession for the Eskimos, and it makes you wonder if the Toronto Argonauts defense has anything left here, and you saw that on that last possession by the Eskimos. Really took advantage.
Yeah, they certainly did, and you know, this is the MO of the Edmonton Eskimos offensively. They want to play at tempo, they want to run a lot of plays, want to dominate in terms of time of possession. We saw this with Jason Moss's old team, Ottawa, last night, dominating the time of possession, wearing a team out, and when you're in a position to kind of put them away, you put them away, and that's been the Edmonton Eskimos story. Pretty good in the second half and in the fourth quarter of games thus far this season.
Eskimos. Remember there was a guy on the block when you were a kid and he always had the ball and he never gave it back to you? That's what the Eskimos are right now.
Yeah, I was that guy.
They have the ball all the time. Argos, no drives over 4 plays since the first quarter. And only 3 first downs since the first quarter. So no continuity offensively. And defensively right now on their heels. And Riley's been more prone to take a couple of shots deep. Might he do it again here?
Yeah, like a shark smelling blood.
2nd and 10 from the 43. Riley, and just behind Natea J. Incomplete, and a break for the Argos, and we'll get it back here early in the fourth.
That's a big, much-needed stop on 2nd and long for the Toronto Argonauts defense to get themselves off the field and get a quick break.
That is the first 2-and-out by the Eskimos since that fumble early in the ball game. How much they've owned. Put the lockjaw on the football here. Still anybody's ball game. O'Neal into a breeze. Bouncing kick. Penalty flag down. 2-point ball game. Eskimos and Argos.
Skyscraper, starring Dwayne Johnson, in theaters July 13th.
And these two teams back at it next week. We'll shift to northern Alberta. Not too far away from the CN Tower. When was the last time you were up in the tower? Have you ever been up in the tower? I guess you have.
I've been up in the tower. I was a kid last time I was up there. A few years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Mike Benavides. Back home. His hometown.
Yes, Coach told me he got home. A little home cooking last night.
Where it all began. And you talk about a guy who's taken a path less traveled. That's Mike Benavides. Talk about hard work and grinding it out. Actually becoming a head coach. Franklin backpedaling. And Declan Cross can't hang on. Benny, like a lot of coaches, volunteered for many, many years.
Well, that was it. 18 years ago, he arrived in Calgary as a volunteering to help out, help Wally Buono, and kind of attached himself to the CFL's all-time leader in coaching wins, and was just a sponge. Learned as much as he could, and he's been applying those lessons ever since. Become a tremendous coach in his own right.
James Franklin pancake there by Jake Serezna. Goes over the top. Burks, and so a quick 2-and-out. J.C. Sherritt, so good to have him back for a full season. And Benny's loving having 47 on the field. Just makes your defense that much better.
Well, terrific tackle against a pretty shifty guy in space there for Sherritt.
That for another towering kick. Fielded at the 35 by Robinson. Bursts outside and spinning up near the 48-yard line, and a good starting point. Kenny likes it. He loves it when J.C. Sherritt, the hitman, does a lot of that. Benny's fired up. Esks have the lead. 40, they're down to 4. Brilliant. Semifinals of the FIFA World Cup, France and Belgium on Tuesday. Croatia and England winning today. Belgium, the giant killer.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not so fast, gentlemen.
Yeah, after their loss yesterday, they came here to watch the Argos and the Eskimos today. Heartbreaking loss for Brazil. Mike Riley on the roll and drops it in. There's a penalty flag down. Duke Williams.
Illegal contact on receiver. Toronto number 3. That penalty is declined. First down, Edmonton.
Duke Williams, who's been on that training table a lot today, but back in formation. He'll go back to the sideline, but another big catch. Big playmaker. Riley looking to put the hammer down now after getting the lead. C.J. Gable, a little juke and a shake. Half the first down yardage, and there's a late flag. Some extracurriculars on the far side of the field.
Fullback Alex Dupuis appeared to get tangled up with somebody downfield.
Again, here's Andre Prue.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness Edmonton number 44. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run, and it will be second down.
Big loss here.
If you see up near the top of the screen on the hash mark, Alex Dupuis blocking, and it turfs his man at the end of the play.
And right in front of the official, and right beside Jason Moss right now. 2nd and 21. Riley with the deep drop, now steps up out of the pocket, and he is going to be brought down. There's a 15-yard coming as Riley gets turfed himself, but a horse collar. Troy Davis tried to get, and now we got a scrap here on the sidelines.
Well, the Eskimo line was in there quickly to protect their quarterback. They're in enemy territory.
Well, these two teams on the same sideline here, very close proximity. Tempers heat up. Mike Riley was thrown down as he was grabbed by the jersey collar.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, he's going to get flagged for this anyway. To Troy Davis's credit, he recognized that he had Riley in a dangerous position with the horse collar and kind of stopped and held him up, but didn't let go of the back of the jersey. He has him, and then he realizes, I can't pull him down like that. I got to stop.
Yeah, you can see him almost
Major
trying
foul,
to explain.
Unnecessary roughness, horse collar tackle. Toronto number 92. This is a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Yeah, it's the 15 yards, but it's the automatic first down. That's the killer for the Argos. It was 2nd and 21. Davis looks like he wants to just kind of put him up on a coat hook. There it is again.
And he turns to his own bench almost in frustration. Like,
it's almost like he was waiting to hear a whistle earlier.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen, and then all heck broke loose.
Argo came in, finished the tackle, and that was really the part that the Eskimo offensive line took exception to.
3.5 minutes almost gone here in this fourth quarter. The Eskimos took their first lead late in the third. Chance to extend it. Dupuis in motion. They'll hand it off to Gable. Stop for a loss by the bowler. Marcus Ball. Comes up with a big defensive stop here as they're going to try to limit the Eskimos to a field goal attempt.
Marcus Ball right in the middle of the action, shoots the gap and just hangs on. Great effort from the Argos defensive leaders.
Lots of time left, but this is a big play for both sides right here, right now. 2nd and 12 inside the 35. A little confusion here. Justin Sorensen calling out the plays. A little pump now. Riley looking for Bahar, and he can't get there, and there's a flag down. And Alden Darby on the corner. And was this Bahar pushing off, or is it against Darby? Looks like it's against the Eskimos. Bahar likely looked like he pushed off. That's why Darby's celebrating. I don't think you'd celebrate an interference call.
Offensive pass interference. Edmonton number 11. That penalty's declined. Third down.
And you'll see at the end of this play, absolutely the right call. Bahar kind of gave him the straight arm to try and separate at the last second to get to that football.
So again, no finish from the Eskimos. It's the one touchdown so far in this game and a lot of Sean White, but White, chance to make it a 5-point lead. Looks like they're missing a player here. How about two? Well, just missing one. They'll sub in. They have to take a timeout. This could be a costly timeout.
Timeout. Edmonton.
Just a personnel miscommunication. You might need that timeout later.
Frustrating when we've seen both teams have some substitution issues on special teams in this ball game.
A 42-yarder setting up for always dependable Sean White. However, blip earlier today, missed one going the other way. Straight down Main Street since then, and he just boots it through. Eskimo fans like it. But a field goal that could have been a little more for the Eskimos. The Haars push off. Edmonton leads by 5 with 10 to go in the fourth. Conspicuous so far in this ball game because he's only had 2 grabs is S.J. Green, but likely to be heard from here today. Let's go down to Matthew.
Rod and Dwayne, when you talk about S.J. Green and Anthony Calvillo and Mark Trustman in relation to Marcus Ball, you might remember back in 2012 some of those epic battles the Argos and Alouettes had. And Ball has reminded his coach and his teammate about that, but during the season, with all the injuries and the things that the Argos have had to deal with, especially now with what's going on with Ricky Ray, the fact is, SJ and Ball are now the leaders on offense and defense respectively. And they talk quite a bit. And when things have gone as they have gone with injuries so far this season, especially with Ray, the conversation always begins, you fight a new fight every day. Just again showing that the battles are in the past and they are working towards the championship once again, guys.
Well, they fight that new fight, but Marcus Ball's been scrapping today, and S.J. Green would like to see a little more football. James Wilder, big gain on that earlier play. Again, they went to Wilder a lot in the ball game, and keep in mind they haven't had the ball very much, but you'd have to think that he might figure prominently, at least more prominently, in these final 9 minutes if the Argos have any intention to pick up win number 1.
Well, big, powerful back with relatively fresh legs at this stage of the game. Worth giving him a shot.
2nd and 8. Key play again for Franklin. Delivers, and there he is. S.J. Green. Pass catching machine. Fourth quarter time, 40. This is when champions step up.
Well, you look for some of the big guys absolutely to make their presence felt. S.J. Green, certainly that by far the most experienced receiver for the Toronto Argonauts.
Jason Moss has thrown a challenge flag.
Contending that he maybe didn't really survive contact with the ground when he went to the ground with the ball.
So Moss doesn't want to hold his challenge flag for later. Again, you just have 1 challenge per game. Feeling the Argos probably have some momentum here and are in Eskimo territory.
Edmonton is challenging the ruling on the field. They believe that the ball carrier was not touched and the ball came out and recovered by Edmonton. The play will be reviewed.
Because this could be a major decision whether the drive continues or the Argos have to kick the football. So could be a good challenge. Let's take a look here. He's got it, he's got it, he's got it, he's got it. We'll see.
After the review by the command center, the ball carrier was down with contact. Toronto keeps the football. Edmonton is charged their last time out.
So a challenge by Moss. As we went to break and you looked at it, you could kind of tell that S.J. Green certainly had control 40.
Well, yeah, you'll see that he's caught the ball and kind of is in contact with the trailing defender. You could argue helped push him down, so to speak. That in terms of consistent application of the rule, that's going to count as him being down by contact.
Lost the ball when he tried to squirm for more yards. Franklin now with some protection and into traffic. That, had that not been knocked away by the Argos, that might have been picked off. So now it's 2nd down.
See S.J. Green coming right to left on your screen through traffic. A couple of converging defenders. His eyes got real big as that ball came in.
Toronto has not been close to this territory since the opening couple drives of the ball game. Again, have not been on the field offensively very much. Armani Edwards at the top of your screen in motion. And we have a whistle. And a timeout from the Argos.
Toronto.
Want to take a look at this midway through the fourth quarter. And Riley and the Eskimos have really controlled the offense on time of possession, but just a 5-point advantage as they look to stretch their record to 3-1 with a win here. See that sun peering through right there? That could be dicey on that far side of the field right now. That's what the receivers will look into. And the DBs. It's going this way though, and throwing it into traffic. See where the spot is. They're giving him a pretty favorable spot. It's going to be 3rd down and maybe a yard.
Well, this is a nice job by the youngster Malcolm Williams coming back to the football. Watch how he fully extends to get some separation, coming back to the ball on that route. Catch that ball in front of smaller defender Nick Taylor.
So it is 3rd down and 1. And remember, early in the ball game, James Franklin will have to do a much better job if he carries it himself this time. They were stopped on a 3rd down play.
Yeah, as Jock Climby suggested at halftime, watch J.C. Sherritt coming from depth here.
Here he is again, and this time Franklin goes left side. Still a bit of a dangerous move, but it worked for the Argos.
Well, this time Franklin keeping his feet, taking a little bit wider path. You'll see Sherritt once again just to the left of the hash mark. He's coming for him. But instead of sort of diving into the middle of that pile, Franklin keeps his feet, takes it off tackle a little bit, so Sherritt's just off target.
Clock ticking down to 6 minutes left. Argos looking to take the lead if they can get to the end zone. And James Wilder plows over Mo McKnight down near the 20-yard line. That'll be a 1st down, and will put the Argos into the red zone. Argos have not scored a point since the 8:58 mark of that first quarter.
Yeah, got off to that great start, marched down and scored on their first drive, then a turnover on Edmonton's opening possession. They capitalized on that one, missed both converts for their 12.
Handed off again to Wilder. Fighting and clawing for yards. Has to get down to the 10 to reset 1st down. Be a little bit shy, so 2nd down play here, 5:17. You keep it conservative, you keep it on the ground. You're also eating up some clock and keeping Mike Riley away from the football.
Exactly. Again, as we've talked throughout this second half, giving your own defense a break, but on this drive, back-to-back runs, James Wilder has looked very much like the guy who earned Rookie of the Year honors in the second half of last season.
Looked very good early in the ball game and looking really good right now. And this time he has to scratch for more yardage. We'll see where the spot is. It looks like he's going to be short by a half yard. 4.5 to go.
Yeah, and we'll see the spot here. You got to believe that if it's a yard or less, no little question that the Argos go for it, keep possession and play for the lead.
Again, they have been stopped on a 3rd down play already early in the ball game. Penny shouts out his instructions. Pressman looks on. 10th play of the drive. Argos need to get to the 10-yard line for a 1st down. And once again, it's Franklin and J.C. Sherritt going flying again, looking for Franklin, and we've got an injury on the field. They're calling for the sideline right away.
You know, we talk all the time about football as a game of adjustments. And we saw that Toronto Argonauts get stuffed in a short yardage situation, as we've talked about in the first half of this football game. They've adjusted the way they've run their sneak since then. Once again, instead of Franklin just sort of plunging into that A-gap, watch him slide to the outside, find a soft spot, keep his feet instead of just lunging or diving, so he can find the soft spot and turn it up and get the necessary yards.
Right away, the Eskimos signal to their sideline and clutching the leg. This could be a very costly injury for the Eskimos. Keep in mind, this is a team that had Odell Willis and Marcus Howard on their line. No longer a bunch of newcomers. The incumbent really has been Armando Sewell.
Yeah, the one constant, the one returning starter. In a year of much upheaval on that D-line.
I hope he's okay. That's a good sign.
You know, turning the clock back a bunch of years. Imagine Armando Sewell and Sean Lemon, part of the same recruiting class at Akron many years ago. Those guys played together for 4 years.
Heck of a line.
Yeah, making life somewhat miserable for Mid-American Conference offenses.
So an Argo drive that started at their own 35. 10 plays has eaten up almost 6.5 minutes as they look to take it to the end zone. James Wilder slicing left side will get down to the 5, and now one of the biggest plays of this game. 3.5 minutes to go.
Wilder doing a terrific job in this drive in particular. Not letting the first tackler bring him down.
They've used the ground in the running attack predominantly on this drive with Wilder. Will they take it to the air? Try to take it to the house and take the lead. Franklin's looking. Goes end zone, and Declan Cross has given the Argos the lead. So now the Argos line up for a 2-point convert.
Yeah, watch Cross, free release to the right side of your screen. Linebacker is late to react to go with him into the flat. You see this is a bread and butter green zone play for the Toronto Argonauts going back to last season. Declan Cross, 4th round pick, a steal back in 2016. That's the 5-yard major.
Argos went for a 2-point convert earlier. Their first attempt of the season, they missed. This is a key one to make it a 3-point game. Otherwise, the Eskimos could win it with a Sean White field goal. Franklin again, deep drop. Armani Edwards makes it a 3-point game. And the Toronto Argonauts, as we approach the 3-minute warning, take a page out of the Eskimos playbook.
Yeah, the key to this one, 12 plays, 75 yards, and the big number, 7 minutes, 5 seconds off the clock.
Coming up after this game in Winnipeg, part 2 of the doubleheader in TSN's 1 and 3. Matt Nichols back in a quarterback for Winnipeg against the BC Lions. For viewers on TSN 4, MLS Soccer, Sporting KC and TFC. Back to Rod and Dwayne.
Number 2, O-line. Take a look. Take a look.
Thank you, Rod. Declan Cross. Second touchdown of the season. Homer McMaster Marauder has given the Argos a lead, a 2-point convert. 3-point advantage right now as Jordan Robinson brings it up. And there's a penalty flag, a couple that fly after that play. So James Franklin right now could beat his former team. And this was a good play call.
Yeah, you're going to see Declan Cross comes across the formation in motion as he slips out into the flat. The nickel linebacker off the edge is just going to be late in reacting. He's got a crossing route going in front of him to the inside, late to react to the fact that Cross is coming to that flat. And here we look at the two-point convert. Armani Edwards, the inside man. He's just going to work to the corner.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness face mask. Toronto number 16. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the run. And a first down.
Well, there's a costly penalty. There's the face mask that Andre Proulx was talking about on Jordan Robinson. That was Brian Jones. So Mike Riley, the master, as we talked about before, is also the master of fourth quarter comebacks.
20 of them in his career.
Pitching it out. Bahar stopped up after a 2-yard gain. Big play coming for Riley. And the Argo defense, again, has done such a good job for the most part today, stopping the Eskimos from finishing. Edmonton trying to get it in field goal range for Sean White to tie.
And I'll tell you, it'll be interesting if Toronto gets a second down stop here to see if Edmonton chooses to play 3-down ball or try and pin him deep and put it on your defense to get the ball back with a short field.
Remember last year's playoff as well, Jason Moss, that decision, the late going. Riley goes over the top, and now 3-down ball. Is it? Or will they bring the kick team? And he will go to his kick team, it looks like. Keep in mind another thing. That challenge that was lost. Jason Moss has no more challenges, but more significantly, no more timeouts.
That's right.
So now hoping to pin the Argos and get the ball back. Martese Jackson. Ball security paramount right now. And O'Neill's so good at the angle kick. This one is going to bounce back. Jackson picks it up, but it was out of bounds near the 24-yard line. This game has been kind of like a tennis match, hasn't it? You serve, back and forth. Speaking of which, the 100 and Wimbledon, presented by Infinity, continues Monday with round of 16 action. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 a.m. Pacific on TSN 2, 3, and 5 on the grass at Wimbledon. We're on the grass here. Natural field, BMO Field, and James Franklin trying to hang on here and beat his former team in his first meeting since coming east. Acquired in December by the Argos. Never needed more with the injury to Ricky Ray, and they'll keep it conservative to Wilder and likely try to do the same again. They get a first down here. Could really hurt Mike Riley's chances of getting back on that field. A couple of first downs and you might be able to seal it.
That's pretty good first down production for the Argos. In the run game, James Wilder gets him about 5 and keeps that clock running, staying in bounds.
Eskimos kept the Argos offense off the field. The idea right now is for the Argos to keep the Eskimos on the sideline. Rush, Franklin over the top, big first down. Armani Edwards has had a couple of huge catches up near the 45-yard line. Clock down to 1:41.
Well, nice protection, patience here. Watch how he waits for the middle to open up. Right into the spot vacated by the blitzing middle linebacker, J.C. Sherritt.
11-yard gain. Trying to keep the guy who kept James Franklin off the field a lot in Edmonton for 3 years. Off the field right now.
Franklin looking for that payback.
With the Argos now, can he lead them to their first win of 2018? Use every second of that play clock. Down to 1. To Wilder. Leaps forward. James Wilder. Stiff arm. And a first down. That one was huge.
I talked about the patience of James Franklin on the previous play, waiting for the middle linebacker to vacate before throwing it into the spot. Watch the patience of James Wilder here. Pause, there's the hole.
It's what he was so adept at last year in his first year in the CFL, Rookie of the Year. 114 rush yards, his best performance of 2018 for sure. And now looking to seal it. But hang on to that football. It'll force a key second down. How would the Eskimos like a timeout right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, they can't stop the clock.
Misread on me. Misread on me. Good luck.
So 49 to go, 2nd and 9.
You know, you have no idea how it would have gone had the Eskimos gone for it on 3rd down. They certainly had the time and were in a field position to put it in the hands of their defense. Not necessarily a great punt in terms of pinning them deep, and they didn't get the stop.
Riley can only watch. Play clock down. Now we're down to 25. Wilder is going to be stopped. It will set up a 3rd down. 22 seconds to go. And the Argos to be sending out their kick team here. Or will they? Mark Tressman huddling with his group. They're going to whistle this play in. And the clock will tick down.
Yeah, exactly. Game clock and play clock.
And now Ronnie Pepper can bring this down to the wire. Now it comes down to 2, down to 1. And the Argos want to celebrate here. It's a time count.
17. One more play. We're going to go back 10 yards. Time. Okay. We've got 2 seconds on the clock.
Still 2 seconds remain. So Franklin can come out, and that's what the Argos did.
Yeah, by 2 seconds and then kneel down.
And James Franklin, 3 years in Edmonton behind Mike Riley. Spot start here and there.
Monster Pig!
Beat this Argo team in his last start. And now, for the foreseeable future, is the skipper of the Argo ship. And in his first start, with Ricky Ray down and out, James Franklin will pick up his first win and the Argos' first win of 2018. How good must that feel for number 2?
Timeout, Toronto.
Argos just want to make sure that they don't do anything silly at this point. So they'll take their timeout and again give it time for the Argos to waste those final 2 seconds. Mike Riley, the great irony in this ball game, kept the Argos offense off the field for such a long time, and then the Argos did it to Riley.
Yeah, a 4th quarter in which he thought this is what the Eskimos played for. A tired defense, and a chance to win.
James Franklin put up some good numbers today. A couple of wins again with the Eskimos. Could be the start of a new era here. James Franklin back to pass, will throw it away. And the Toronto Argonauts will get their first win of the new season. Mike Riley and the Eskimos fall to 2-2, and guess what? These two teams, no rest for the weary. Back at it. They'll meet next week in Edmonton in the rematch. Time now for our Nissan Titan Player of the Game, brought to you by Nissan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Well, thrown into a tough situation. Replacing a legend, playing against his former team. But James Franklin stepped up 217 yards through the air, led the Argos to touchdowns on each of their first 2 possessions of this ball game, brought them from behind in the 4th quarter. Added another 31 yards along the ground, but completed it with a touchdown pass to Declan Cross for the winning points. James Franklin, in his first start as a Toronto Argonaut, is our Nissan Titan Player of the Game.
Huge move in the offseason to come east. Found a time to play. Not the situation you want to get put into with a star going down by injury, but James Franklin showing what everybody knows James Franklin can do. He can play, he can ball, he can win. Argos win their first of 2018.